January 6th, 2013. Planning board.
This is.
Take a minute to read the minutes.
Okay.
You can vote for Jessica. If we voted on anything.
Pretty good to me.
Was it your motion?
Yes.
Is there a second?
I got a question, I don't know what point we bring them in.
We make a motion, we have a second, and then we open it for comments.
Okay.
So is there a second?
Second?
Fine. Any changes, corrections, or comments?
Under arts permits,
Second page?
yes.
Yes.
Did we say that all of the conditional uses were not applicable? Or did we say that some of them were applicable but already taken care of because of the previous business?
It appears as if standards A through M are not applicable. It's written that A through M are not applicable.
Yeah.
And that would be page 85?
Yes.
Well, A obviously is not, no spawning ground. There's no shore cover, B is out. The use is consistent with the comprehensive plan, yes it is. So that's fine. D, traffic access to the site, that's fine. DOT has already approved that, so that's good. E, the site design is in conformance with all municipal flood, blah, blah, blah. It's not the flood zone, right, Art? Okay, so
So there's three.
that's NE, or NA. F, adequate provision for the disposal of all wastewater and site, has a septic system, correct? That's good.
There's no hazardous material.
G, blah, 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 there'll be no hazardous material, so that doesn't apply. H, stormwater drainage system capable of handling a 25-year. What do we say about this? Well, it had one originally, but, well, I don't know what the hell. What kind of stormwater plan did you have when you first put that shed up?
I don't think we have. That was 2000. Thinking that was maybe 2005.
Well, the exterior of the building is not being altered, correct?
Right.
So, we're all set.
So is that NA then?
No, it's adequate provision, or
Yes.
a system was, when they first put the building in, it was addressed. And because the exterior of the building's not being changed, then it's still good. Soil erosion limitation being made. Were you gonna clean up the site anymore?
No, nothing other than, try to maintain the usual plantings and possibly some landscaping down by the entryway.
Well, again, the exterior of the building is really not changing.
Not changing.
Yeah, so I think we're fine there too. So that's fine, that's good. And that applies and it's fine. Water supply has got its own well, correct? That's good. So that applies and it's good. Buffer strips on. Well, it's, yeah, K's fine. L, all before says, L's fine, and M is not applicable, all right? So now we're all set. You happy?
Yeah, that's exactly what I did.
That's what I thought too. Any other changes, corrections, comments? All right, and all's in favor, aye? All's opposed, nay? It's a done deal. What was that?
D,
A schedule for inspection and
7D.
D, the description of routing and non-routine. Did you mean the description of routine and non-routine maintenance? That'd be my guess. All right.
Thank you.
All right then, we're all set. Now, stormwater ordinance. We've got the new copy of the stormwater ordinance with all the changes we've made. The various colors, there are various colors. Get a chance to, I don't know if we want to go through it tonight. A couple of pages. Oh, that's wrong. Yeah, yeah, you're right. Eesh. Well, fine. If we were going to peruse this tonight, we'd have to sit here and go through every page with the stuff we already got done. Do that at home, that's your homework. Unless somebody has some issues with something that's jumped out at them. The next copy we're going to get of this is just going to be after we've made a decision on, yeah, we're going to need time to look at this on your own. Because the next time we meet, after Art's public hearing, we'll take a vote on this stormwater ordinance and see how we like it. Because apparently, we have to get it upstairs by the end of the month. Some hocus pocus that, you know, I don't know where this is coming from, but this frickin' state is driving me nuts. Yeah. So between now and 2 weeks, go through this, and if there's any things that haven't been in there or you have any issues with it, make a note of it so that we can deal with those before we come to some kind of a vote on it, all right? Any questions, comments? So, the timeline for this little piece of work. Oh, you know what we need to do? Well, yeah, let's pick an informational meeting for, how about the 7th of February? What kind of time does that give us to put in the other paper? Should give us a month, right?
Because it's an informational thing, we can finish it as we want.
Yeah. Well,
It's very easy.
we still have to give,
Yeah,
it's at least 10 days, maybe 14, I don't know.
right.
Anytime we get together like that, we've got to give them X amount of time.
And then we give you the 21st for the final vote. That's the drop dead
Of February.
21st, right?
Super.
So if we have the hearing the 7th and the 21st.
Yeah. Well, actually, so we don't have to really vote on it at the end of next meeting, if we're just having an informational meeting?
I think.
Oh, yeah,
I think
that's
you
right, if we have to
do,
give it to the selectmen by the 31st.
Because this says that you can't move forward with anything until there's been a majority vote of someone, which would be you. So it has to be one of those 4 criteria, so there has to be a majority vote before it can be presented, before it can be posted, before.
As an official change, right now, we're talking about, let's see, any amendments to this ordinance may only be adopted by a majority of votes.
That's a
A
town meeting.
proposal for an amendment to this ordinance may be initiated by, okay, that's what this is, a proposal.
Right.
Board of Selectmen.
Yeah, well, fine. We'll vote on it after Art's public hearing next meeting. We'll have a informational public discussion on February 7th. And we'll see what's what. See if there's anything we have to revisit and change. Otherwise, we'll fire off a copy after a meeting. Well,
Is there any cost of publishing in the Smart Shopper?
It's,
negligible. It's cheaper than a newspaper.
well, we put it, it's about $20 in the Journal Tribune if we put it in the legal notices, which is where it belongs. Whereas in the Smart Shopper, it's a little more,
We give it a nice little statement.
presentation.
Yeah. Much easier to find. You have to be looking for it in the Journal Tribune in the legal notice section,
Exactly.
which is all a bunch of fine print stuff.
And Jen thought that Journal Tribune is where the citizen would be looking for it, so.
They'll be at the dump looking at the sign I put up. That's what they'll be looking for. Journal Tribune. Oh geez, I hope she didn't hear me. Oops. All right. So between now and the next meeting, use this baby. And, yeah.
The Journal Tribune is the same.
I don't know. I think it's the way the timing comes out.
Oh, the news just being once a week,
Right, it's
maybe.
once a week, so to get
It
it
might be-
within the 10 days, it usually ends up being like 14.
And it can't be too far ahead of time
Right.
either, correct? Yeah. So it's,
So the Journal Tribune, where it comes out every day,
Yeah.
it's easier to hit that target.
there's a catch. There's always a catch. Kenny, you got anything for us? We're really marking this up, right?
Making changes.
Well, make sure that we, hey, now, if anyone has anything substantive, let Brenda know, and maybe she could email us before the next meeting. Ken. Or John Doe, anybody. All right?
Any of that notion that we had previously of including first order streams that would step on the toes of this expansion of the RP district would not.
Yeah.
So we'd have to,
Unless you broke it off to two separate articles.
but it would still trigger the necessity
Do the mail.
Send the letter, yeah, which we're planning on not doing right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's something we could have thought about at budget season too, to add, I forget what it cost the last time because last time it was such a major amount, I think we notified everybody in town, not just the shoreline, because we didn't want to miss anybody. So that was a huge mailing.
It's about
Really?
$2,500.
it would be brutal to try and.
Really, 2,500 bucks?
identify
13.
First order stream
Right.
was.
Yeah, yeah.
2,700.
How many property owners in town? Do you know offhand?
Jen said there's about 2,700 households.
27. All right.
So you figure what is the stamp now, 45 cents?
Is it easy to pick out which ones are RP shoreland?
No. None
So-
of it's a comprehensive change.
It really isn't,
So we'd almost
because
have
they're
to,
like little pockets.
yeah, so we'd almost have to send it to everybody just to make it
That's what
simple.
we did last time,
Yeah,
it was
that's
simple
right.
and everybody got it, but that generated
Oh, yes,
hundreds of
yes.
calls from people that
Yeah.
were nowhere near it. but-
Maybe brush fire, that's the problem.
All right. All right. Anyone else? Anything? Any new business? Nothing?
No, I I was gonna,
TC?
I was hoping to raise that issue of the first order streams, but we're gonna have to time that so it can be in conjunction with a normal mailing that might be going out or something.
Are you thinking about this year though, before?
No,
Oh, okay, okay.
I would like it to be, it should have been.
Well, maybe,
We had it all ready to go, and there was some objection upstairs.
well, if we decide to include the whole town in this stormwater ordinance next year, then we could throw that in then.
Yeah.
I mean, that would give us a good place to put it, other than its own little standalone thing. But anyway, so you're aware.
My thinking was that it would be a nice thing to balance the perception, if it does arise, of, which would not be justified, I don't think, that we're somehow or other picking on shoreline property owners.
Right.
If there was something in the balance to say to the inland property owners in the old rural districts, or whatever you want to call it, that there was a new stream protection on first order streams. It might offset some of the,
It'd just make more people upset.
yes, but an equal.
Yes,
It's kind of like.
they'd all be bad,
It's
not
kind of
just
like this
that.
one through in Washington.
All right.
Can I ask about?
Yes,
The total overall area of impervious surface shall not exceed 20% of the lot area located. This happens to be the resource protection district. I mean, that means if
What
there's
page?
100 acre, on page 2, 4.2.2.7.
Yeah,
So does that mean that if the lot's 100 acres, you can have 20 acres of impervious surface?
if you've got 20 acres within RP,
If you've got 10 acres,
10 acres.
you can have 2 acres of impervious surface.
You probably couldn't find a land use permitted
Yeah.
to make 20 acres of impervious, though.
right,
All you can do in the RP is timber harvest, basically. There's a few other things.
yeah, there's not, you can't have a home in there. You can't, it's very limited what you can do, and it's almost next to nothing.
What about the shoreline or commercial B?
The 20%'s all through the ordinance already. I think there's one of the commercials you can go up to 50% though.
Commercial B is 20%.
Because
Just
it's,
looking at the.
it's right near shoreline, if not in shoreline, some of it.
The commercial B is because we want to do the stormwater ordinance, I just happen to be looking at it. Since it's highlighted, does that mean the highlighting in yellow is the first draft with changes, right?
If it's yellow, it came out of the first draft to be added. If it's underlined, it stayed. If it's struck, it was voted out at some point.
So it's underlined also, so it's,
Underlined or crossed out.
Right.
On page 2, the first 2 sections of yellow are all underlined, 4227, 4228, but down towards the bottom, you see the word undeveloped, where you put that in and then decide against it, apparently.
No, actually, that existed in the, it
Oh,
exists
and it's-
here, and it was decided
To take it out.
to omit that. So it's highlighted because it's a change, and then it's struck to show that it's taken out and not put in.
Underlined and highlighted, it's added. And it was added, if it's highlighted in yellow, it was added in the first draft.
Anything that's underlined is being added, depending on
Because,
whether it's yellow, blue, or pink.
because when we roll this into the ordinance, you won't have the colors. It will just be underlined if it was added and struck if it was
Oh.
removed. So you won't have the colors.
Brenda, we prior to your joining us, we had quite a go-around in the adoption of some new zoning ordinance work. And we were asked to delineate in color all of the changes
In the ordinance?
that we were bringing to the people.
Also, they won't want just underline and strike?
Well, I'm just suggesting, just reflecting on what the amount of controversy that we ran into before, for maybe the informational meetings, it might be good if there was several copies of this.
And that's what we thought, Jen thought that possibly we could provide these in colors, like what you have here.
But we
in
don't need
color.
3 colors, that's just gonna confuse
Right,
people. Just,
we'll just have one color to show what it
Like
came,
yellow.
because they don't care about the progression.
No.
First
Right,
draft, second
right.
draft, you have because you wanted to know where it came from.
Well,
So-
there was a lot of
Right.
controversy about the changes, and they wanted them
Right.
clearly delineated.
If we provided this
Yeah, that
for
would.
them, but this is going, it translates into 104 pages with all the changes that we have. So, so we're gonna have to have these two?
No, just
no,
this.
no, just this. Not,
Really?
yeah.
Yeah.
No, just
Okay.
the changes, not the whole book, just the changes, because that's all they're voting on. Oh, and no question about it, I don't care what anybody else says. I'm drawing a line at that.
Well, the selectmen want for their presentation, they want 3 double-sided copies, so we can do that for them, because I can print that. That doesn't have to go out to a printer.
They've got a zoning book.
The reason why we did it before was because it was such a comprehensive change.
You guys.
You know what I'm saying?
You'd be surprised, I've already started rolling it into, you'd be surprised how many pages are affected by this.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
It's
No,
a lot of
I,
pages.
no, I understand.
Right,
That's why
so,
we don't want to incur that kind of expense.
Right.
okay,
And all it's gonna do, you know, if we make 3 copies or 100 copies, it's just gonna mess people up. It's gonna be one more book that's gonna be out there with all kinds of stuff in it, and it's not gonna be the official book after June, you know? Because it's gonna have plus and minus. After June, it's just gonna have the plus, none of the minus is gonna be there anymore. So,
well then how, okay,
the
so.
public gets something like this to look at.
Well, if you notice that, the first Article 2 talks about changing the use table quite a bit.
Right.
It's gonna, so, would you want me to put those changes in here so they can see, or will they
No.
have to look back and forth?
As a rule, they don't even look back and forth. All we've ever done is give them this.
Okay,
We tell them what is in the ordinance now for that particular section we're looking at, what we're taking out, and what we're adding.
so they'll just get this with one color,
Yes. Because see, this is available online, folks. Online. Free, correct?
it is.
Free, I might add. So put some ink in your printers, make yourself some copies. Because I'm not giving you one. All right, so we're all set?
We're all set.
Okay. Anything else, anybody, on this? We're all happy with the progression of the way things are gonna be, blah, 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 blah.
The purple and the blue, which was 1, 2nd, and 3rd one?
The bottom of the first page it says.
Yeah. And I only left that in there for this because sometimes something came into the first draft, you struck it out in the second draft or changed it in the second draft, and I thought if I just pull these out, you might say, well, whatever happened to such and such? So I needed to leave, this is everything you've done in one, but what we'll do for next week for you to vote and for
The
the
public hearing.
public will be
Public
just what you're
informational
adding or
meeting.
what you, exactly.
Right.
So it'll be a lot cleaner.
And hopefully
It'll be
shorter.
What I was wondering, it's like this on,
Although, actually, no, it won't be that much shorter, because we're still gonna put in, everything that's underlined, everything that's lined out, they have to see what we're taking out.
Right.
All this is gonna have to be in there.
And that's
So there's
because,
gonna be something
but I was
similar to
wondering, like,
this.
this definition, and I looked myself, is in there, and nothing
all the
has
same?
changed. It's exactly the same that's in there, so I don't know why it was here. Unless it was just something that you needed to be made aware of at some point or something, I don't know. But I was wondering, do we leave things like that? There's no change to that.
Well, you know, as a matter of fact, it adds a little bit of context. But, you know, the heading is definitions, and here's a new definition. These other two, oh yeah, this is gonna be the definition section. The next page, when we talk about RP, you got dimensional requirements which don't change at all, but then you've got the next two things that have been added. So, you know, I don't know, I forget where we are on that. No, that's right, this is available online. So, yeah, no, we don't need these things.
Okay.
Why is in this, as long as you're sure that
Well, I
impervious
even
surface
went,
is
and I
in
was
this.
so afraid that maybe there was one more word, and I
Right,
looked,
right.
and there's 6 lines here, and there's 6 lines in there. so-
Well, if it's
It's under
something that's
definition.
already available online to the townspeople, then we don't have to include it. Just the additions and subtractions, and obviously, you know, the titles of
Right,
the
we show where they are.
Make sense?
There's probably in there, JP maybe probably in his process of doing things, just was going along, just to, in his mind, clear things through.
Right, to give it some context maybe, you know, just to leave a couple of things in there, but, you know, I don't know that we really need to. And especially, you know, the subdivision definition, we don't need that in there.
I thought we did talk about the impervious surface definition. Because I remember getting hung up on the McAdam or
Well, the 20%, I mean, it seems like there ought to be an upper, no more than some amount, not 20%. I mean, you know, somebody, and I don't know, resource protection, commercial B, I guess, is a pretty limited zone anyway. Those are the only ones we're talking about.
Where do we talk about this?
Commercial.
Well, we've got a whole article here that explains the various,
There's
plus we've got that map, or districts actually.
commercial B is just north of Route
It's-
109.
It's down near Anderson's store. Anderson's
Yeah,
old
I mean,
store.
we're kind of from a little bit this side of the store to right to the New Hampshire borders.
Yeah.
But it's all on the north side of 109.
Which is closer to any Agua, except for the river.
I'm not that we have any land suitable for it, but it's, you know, there's a fairly substantial greenhouse operation in Madison that covers some acres raising tomatoes and stuff like that. You know, if somebody wanted to do something like that, and again, I don't know if it would fit in, as any suitable land for something like that in that particular zone. You know, 20 acres might not be realm, but in
well-
certain situations.
But in RP,
Yeah, if you're still talking RP, you can't do
Well,
it.
I'm talking commercial B.
Well, we'll have to cross that bridge when we come to it, I guess.
Now, yeah, I'm just, it seems like there ought to be an upper, that's just for discussion, don't you think? I mean, 20%, it can be a pretty substantial amount of ground.
Non-residential uses can be 30%.
I have a question on that first Article 2 there. In rereading that,
Establishment of districts?
yeah. First of all, I can't find, under the new citation that JT is instructing us to plug in the disturbance of land exceeding thresholds of section 5.255. I can't find that reference.
Where it came from?
Well, I can't find 5.255. There's 5.25, 1 and 2.
Those references are still out.
See, that's,
I was going to verify some of those too.
That in the,
he may have taken it,
So I'm wondering if something referred in and taken out.
and it may not have been changed the last time we changed the book. Let's see, the social districts, that's 2. Where were we gonna plug that in?
It's in the land use chart. He's just saying,
Oh.
he's saying devise a new line in the land use chart after the entry of the garden under rural uses. But then, in the zoning ordinance book, which is, I assume, what he's referencing, there is no section 5.255.
Well, and you know what else we should have? We should have this little picture
Yeah.
show
where we're gonna put that in, because right now, I didn't know what it was talking about. I didn't know that it meant to put a line in here.
Yeah, it should be.
It says, it tells you to do it, but still, we ought to have a picture of it
Like
in
the one
here.
before and the one after?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and we may even need the banner at the top delineating the zones, because.
Yes, oh yeah, definitely.
Because without,
So we want this page, but I just want, 1 or 2 ahead of where it's gonna be.
Okay.
We're gonna want this. And throw in the key too.
zone citation, yeah.
Because I think we can get away with just using, are they all dealing with rural? Just under rural uses. Shoreline commercial lead and resource protection districts. Show the new uses, disturbance of the speed. No, that's what we need. Oh, wait a minute. Could he be alluding to one of the previous installments? Or is he going back to the original one? Did that have a 525?
No?
Oh, wait a minute, it did. It does. 5.25, yeah.
In the norm, Tom?
No, in a
Previous
September
draft?
2012 draft, which would,
Okay.
in our new draft that you gave us tonight, it would be,
Oh, you were looking in the zoning book,
yes.
and he was talking about, well, now, if it's in here, it should be in the zoning book too, though.
yeah, it's page 5.25, page 5, subpart B and C.
The August one?
Or in the brand new one, 525, which is on page 7, I think.
It's on page 5.
In the new one, it's on page 7. So, there's this.
Yeah, it starts on page 5.
Yeah, but the A and B
Yeah,
are on page 7.
5.
Now, should be in this little.
So it's still a valid reference?
Oh, okay, this is why. If you look at 525 in our existing zoning available online, we only have a couple, 2 paragraphs, so we're adding a whole bunch to this. So that's why you're not finding some of this other stuff. We do have a 525, but not the,
It's under area.
we only have 1 and 2, and then a note. We added a whole bunch, we added, 1 through 6 to this. And then we took out the note, And we took out projects, oh no, we added projects yet to the end of that. And we had, yeah, this is the section we add the most to.
It's referencing new work.
Yes,
That's why I clicked on it.
yeah. All right,
Yeah, but for clarity, I agree with what you proposed there, that we're gonna lift some of the
Yes,
latest chart on
yeah.
that.
just grab this. Yes.
Then like anything that hasn't been changed or added to is okay to remove, like all of this? Or no, just leave it?
I agree with Chip.
You leave it?
To give it some context, it might help to leave some of that in. There's no,
Yeah, pretty much what we've got, except for, we don't need all these
Definition.
definitions. The rest of this junk, because most of, yeah. You can do the rest of that, but yes, it does. Whereas these definitions don't really, we've already got them in there, and it's no big deal. And this subdivision, we're not gonna worry about that at all. But this erosion sediment, this shows that we've already addressed some of this stuff, but we're cleaning it up and expanding on it. So, this first page, throw those guys in there, that takes care of this. All right, Art? You okay with that? That was your question, wasn't it? About the disturbance of land article, was that yours? You were
this was,
Oh, it's you? All right. So you're fine with that, though?
Yes, sir.
We're gonna throw in this page.
Yeah.
Plug these little rascals in.
Yeah.
All right.
And that would allow us, I think, to do away with the two italicized sentences there, because we're gonna be showing it.
Yes, and because, they don't really count.
Okay.
They're not gonna be in the ordinance. These are just directions on what to do. All right?
So actually do it, plug it in there?
Yeah, we might as well.
Because that'll be the way it will appear.
Right.
To the board.
It's gonna add a little bit, but it's like
But you're
this.
taking out quite a bit too. So
Well,
it won't be
yeah.
bad.
Well, we're gonna be in this,
Right.
half of this page. Anything else jump out at you guys, as long as we're perusing it? Where did all this stuff come from? Is this
I
from
think
this?
that was from upstairs. They were copying them here, and I think it just got blown around. I don't know.
Yeah, it's got nothing to do with us.
I'll get it back to Jen.
Kenny, anything jumping out at you right away? Any big glaring errors?
No, I think we're not calling it significant and insignificant.
Oh,
Correct, we basically eliminated that?
I thought we did. Because I think it just muddied the waters.
Yeah.
The Jesperson terminology.
Yeah. We have the gist of what was added, we just didn't, because it was confusing us.
The meat and potatoes of what involves your office, Kenny, is on page, where is it? All that purple. Page 7, which is what we went over last time. I think this is something like giving you hiccups. I'm not sure.
I don't know that we need all these things either for this. I think we can have the title, and we're changing
And
not NI, right? Yeah, we don't need the rest of this stuff, because we're not changing it, we're not looking at it. That's already locked in stone. In the Orange Book, available online, free.
So a lot of the stuff that's not underlined or highlighted, we can pull out of this.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. I'm looking at page 9, performance care. I mean, almost all of page 9
I think a lot of it was just,
I can see, leave the 6639 in the title, and then plug in D, and just put that one sentence.
yeah,
That's all we need. We don't need these other things, because,
I thought some he had put in there just so we could find out where it was, such as the definitions, but, I mean, we can pull out on page 2, subdivision,
yeah, we're going to.
minor, major,
We are.
yeah, impervious surfaces on page 1,
Yep, yep,
so we can get it down to just a few pages.
yeah. You know what? Just to let them know that we had a lot of this already in there. Let's leave this stuff here. Because it deals,
This is staying?
yeah, leave this, because it deals pretty close with that.
Okay, so that's page,
4. Karen, on page 4, do you think it's necessary to have everything from like A, B, C, paragraph 2 on? Or is that something we can take out too? Or should we leave it in for context? Just to show that some of this stuff is going to be addressed. And that, you know, we're not just hitting them with something out of the blue that's gonna wipe them out.
We can almost do 2 versions, one where we get it down to just strike out and underlines, and it's just 2 pages when we need to make 50, 100 copies for whoever shows up at the public hearing. Eventually, if it passes, we're gonna need to merge it in here
Oh, I know.
anyways, but,
Well, for this first informational meeting, maybe we'll leave it in.
yes, it is.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when you get to the hearing,
Yeah, we get down the road, we get to the official thing, then we don't need this other stuff. Because by that time, they will have all downloaded this for free.
There's probably more strikeout than there is underline. There's a lot of strikeout in here.
Yeah. Although page 6 is a lot, is all underlined for the most part. So that's okay.
Page 10 is all strikeout.
And this we're gonna take care of. This, yeah, so we talked about this, same with this, that's already bingo, and then that one.
On 7 there, page 7. Is that the operations and maintenance plan shall, at a minimum, identify the following? That means either the CEO or the planning board can require additional conditions or requirements.
Where are you?
Page 7,
Right,
number 7 in the purple.
yeah. Did you start?
Page.
Shall I?
So is that, I mean, I'm looking at the at a minimum part. Does that mean it can, additional things can be required? Or?
Yes.
Such as?
It has to have at least this. Somebody designing this may have, they may put more stuff into it that maybe we haven't thought of.
Okay.
But it has to at least have this.
So that would, in order to satisfy us, but somebody
Yes.
can have more if they
Absolutely.
choose to.
Sure. But, you know, there's nothing we like better than overkill. Come on, we're the state of Maine.
But actually, that has that same type of routine under D, description of routine and routine.
That we looked at that already. Well, that's right, because purple is the last color we used, yeah.
Yeah, that's mine.
you took that out of the dorm.
I wonder if that's how those mutts spelled it.
No, I couldn't copy and paste because it's PDF, so I had to actually type it, so that's my typo. It's mine.
You know, actually, few years ago when I was putting a sign ordinance together, I did physically copy and paste, because I couldn't do this kind of stuff. So I gave these guys the original copies, just these different ordinances from different towns, in different frickin' fonts, glued on a piece of paper, which I then copied so they could get something that looked.
That's got sense.
It was. That's exactly what it was. So I just want you to know that it still is being used by the Luddites.
I'm sure that's what Microsoft had in mind.
It was a hodgepodge. All right, so yeah. I'm happy as a clam. If any more of these things jump out at you between now and the next meeting, make a note of it. Yes, Tom?
Kenny, would you just look over Article 2?
Almost got away.
I'm just curious about, what would now be designated as permitted uses not needing your review when we're talking about disturbance of land of less than or equal to 10,000 square feet on, just pulling this up as an example, in any zone other than shoreline, commercial, B, or resource protection.
Yeah, I think that's what's hard when you have the draft. You don't realize how much holes are in it or loopholes until you actually use it for a year, and things like that may jump out. You're talking about the gravel pits.
Well, that's where the less than or equal to 10,000 square feet comes in, I guess, but
Yep.
I'm just thinking about some commercial lots that it seems to me that you may want some purview in some of those zones that are being
That are permitted?
designated as being permitted now under JT's proposal.
Well, now,
I guess we're covered when it says must comply with all applicable land use standards. But
So you got 100 square feet in Part B, and Part C, 2,000 square feet on slopes greater than 15% or less than 10,000 square feet on slopes of 15% or less. That's what you're talking about.
yeah, but he's applying language that maybe isn't sharp enough, because when he says disturbance of land, I'm looking at the article as it's written in Brenda's copy that she gave us this evening. Disturbance of land, comma, exceeding thresholds of section 5.25, section 5, subparts B and C. Well, the thresholds, are the thresholds merely the square footage, the numerical thresholds, or is the thresholds the whole notion of activities that are located in shoreline, commercial, B, or resource protection districts?
I think it's talking about in B on page 7, if it adds less than 100 square feet of impervious surface.
So,
I think those are the thresholds they're talking about. And the one in C, I think we're talking the slope.
the 2,000 and the
Yeah,
10,000.
and the 10,000, yeah. I think those are the thresholds that's, yeah.
I think that needs to be sharpened up somehow or other in the verbiage after the comma of disturbance of land, exceeding square foot threshold or something like that. Maybe Kenny, I think that needs some.
Well, what it's gonna be is, it's gonna be this new line or two
Right,
in
no,
rural uses.
I'm with you, but the line item is going to read something along the lines of what Brenda has printed out here.
Right, the service of land exceeding.
And I think, for clarity's sake, for us and for the applicant,
We should put the,
you may want to just say exceeding square footage thresholds, something along that line, so they're not getting confused with the other so-called thresholds that are involved in that verbiage under B and C. Anybody else see what I'm fetching up on there?
Disturbance of land exceeding square foot thresholds.
Or
No,
land,
yes.
or land area threshold, or something like that. Or area, just exceeding area thresholds, as delineated in section 5.255, section B and C. So you don't care about the zone, you just care about the so-called land area.
Right.
Disturbance.
So, is that, what that's, amend the land use chart by adding the following use to the list under rural uses above the term gardening. So that means open space, agriculture, application, and storage of sludge and residuals all become,
No. JT is just indicating where he proposes to insert that into the chart.
oh, okay.
And what it would be
It's called
after,
disturbance of land.
Yes.
New citation.
but we would have to,
But disturbance of land happens in a lot of areas.
yeah, but we're talking specifically disturbance of land that's gonna affect stormwater runoff.
Exceeding these thresholds.
Yeah, so what we wanna do is maybe, I'm afraid if we make this category too big, it's gonna get too cumbersome, but
We're gonna wanna make a copy of the chart and show the Rs and the Ps.
yes, that's what we talked about doing, maybe doing this whole first page there, and plugging in, after gardening, this new thing, but like Tom says, we may have to make it a little more,
I just think it needs a word there. Land area threshold, something like that.
Would it be too much to just plug in the actual numbers?
I think that's gonna make it too cumbersome, don't you? Because then we'll be adding B and C on page 7, and that's, I think that's gonna make it too cumbersome.
My initial question there that needs Kenny's eyes on it is, are we letting some kind of a disturbance proposed to be permitted under this language that ought to receive CEO?
Are you bringing back in the 10,000 cubic yards? Is that what you're thinking?
Well, yeah,
Because that is a conditional use in the shoreline, the resource protection in Little Ossipee, which is really all this ordinance is covering. So in
read those three again to me.
less than,
Shoreline RP, a little less.
yeah, is a conditional use if it's less than 10,000 cubic feet. If it's greater than 10,000, then it's not permitted in shoreline, Little Ossipee, or RP.
So, but if it's less than,
It's conditional use through you guys.
then would we
And if
would
it's,
we be picking that up with his language? That's what I want.
so if it's greater, it's not
See.
permitted anyways. The gravel pits basically is what that's talking about. If the ordinance was for all the districts in town, I'd say you're right. There could be the less than 10,000 is permitted in 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 other districts. The 3 districts that this is really pertaining to, it's a conditional use. So I think we're all set. I said, it's gonna take a year of enforcing and using it to really find out and come back and make changes to it.
Maybe we ought to just leave the sentence that he has right there. After gardening, put in another box that says disturbance of land exceeding thresholds of sections 525, subparts B and C. And see what happens, see what happens. And if we can fine tune it, then we can always change the vote after fine tuning it. But that, you know, that's gonna, that tells us exactly what we're doing. And it draws our attention to where those thresholds are. Let's just try that, see what happens. And if we find a better way to work it between now and next meeting, or after the public informational meeting, then we'll change it.
Yeah, at first I was wondering why he was bringing out the B and the C versus just the, you know, the 5.25, because B and C reverts to the whole thing. You have to meet all of those to be exempt. He's just talking the thresholds again, is all he's talking about, the 100 square feet or the 2,000 square feet or the 10,000.
Right. Anything else? Anybody? Robert?
Right?
Nobody's calling me.
I second that motion.
2 weeks.
Thank you, Joe.
Public information meeting, we may be upstairs.